Chapter 3. Beneath the Surface. Just as my consciousness begins to slip away, I feel strong hands grip my arms. With a powerful yank, I'm pulled upwards. My head breaks the surface, and I gasp, sucking in great lungfuls of air. Every muscle in my body squeezes, feeling like I'm going to crumple in on myself as my chest heaves, expelling water from my aching lungs with every seize of my body. I'm coughing up bile and water, the intensity overwhelming my senses as I gasp for every sweet, tedious breath of relief from the crisp air that now surrounds me once again. And those precious, agonizing gasps just can't come fast enough. Damn, that was close. But I think I'm alive. It hurts like the void, but thank Weka, I'm alive. I hear something quiet, something familiar. I don't know what it is, but I cling to it, anchoring myself on the rough-hewn surface of this canoe? But I brought a raft out. I shake my head to clear my confusion, but I'm still just as dazed. The movement sends a spike of pain through my skull, and for a moment, the world tilts dangerously. The sound is distant, muffled, but it's getting clearer, like I'm emerging from underwater. Each second brings it more into focus, sharpening its edges. A deep sound. A voice? Not Tornu's voice, but it is a voice. It's deeper, more rugged and rough than my uncle's. It tumbles through the air, vibrating in my chest. Yorin! Yorin! My thin body fights to draw each breath of air, choking up small spurts of water with each exhale. It feels like I'm inhaling sand and shattered bones every time I breathe in, my lungs burning with the effort. But the relief of oxygen still consumes my every thought, save for the voice I'm beginning to recall. I turn my head upwards, the movement sending another wave of dizziness through me. My eyes struggle to focus on the voice's origin, the world a blur of colors and shapes. Slowly, a face comes into view, relief etched across its familiar features. Yorin! You okay, boy? The world starts coming back into focus, the edges of my vision sharpening as the tendrils of terror begin to loosen their clutch on me. Details emerge from the haze, the weathered lines of a face I've known all my life, eyes filled with concern and something else. Disappointment? It's Ansel, the leader of the Takakin. I try to reply, but my words are cut short as my stomach rebels. I barely have time to lean over the edge of the canoe before I lose its contents, my body heaving once more. The acrid taste of bile fills my mouth, mixing with the lingering flavor of lake water. The acrid taste of bile fills my mouth, mixing with the lingering flavor of lake water. What happened? Why were you out here trying to wrangle in a full boulder net on your own? Ansel asks, his voice compassionate but tinged with frustration. His hand rests on my back, steady and warm, grounding me in the moment. I don't know. I manage to rasp, my throat raw as if I've swallowed shards of glass. How am I supposed to tell our chief that one of our elders put me up to a task she knew I couldn't handle? Ansel's eyes scan the shoreline, sharp and observant. They narrow as they land on a retreating figure. Ekra, her back straight and proud as she walks away from the scene she created. Without a word, Ansel begins to row us back to the shore, his movements quick and practiced. The rhythmic splash of the oar is oddly soothing, a counterpoint to my still racing heart. As we reach the shallows, he grabs my wrist, his grip firm but not unkind. He pulls me along as we exit the canoe, his steps purposeful as he heads straight for Ekra. As Ansel drags me along, I feel the weight of the tribe's collective gaze pressing down on us. My heart, which had just begun to slow, picks up its frantic pace once more. It's not just the near drowning now. It's the impending confrontation that sends adrenaline surging through my veins. I steal a glance at Ansel, taking in his imposing figure. His broad shoulders are set with determination, his weathered face a mask of barely contained fury. His dark brown hair, streaked with silver at the temples, sways with each purposeful stride. The crowd parts before us like grass before a strong wind, a hush falling over the gathered tribe members. Snippets of whispered speculation reach my ears, carried on the breeze. I see worried glances exchanged between adults as they usher younger children away, shielding them from whatever is about to unfold. Some of the older members nod approvingly at Ansel's approach, while others wear expressions of concern, their eyes darting between our chief and the elder he's approaching. Suddenly, I hear familiar voices cutting through the murmur of the crowd. Yorin! Kyra's shout is tinged with panic. She and Chiron push their way through the throng, their faces pale with worry. As they reach me, Chiron's eyes widen at my bedraggled state, both of them walking quickly beside us, Ansel's pace never slowing, his focus never wavering. What happened? he asks, his voice barely above a whisper. "We heard shouting, and then someone said you were in the lake." I open my mouth to respond, but no words come out. How can I explain this without sounding pathetic? Kyra's hand finds mine, squeezing it tightly. "Are you okay?" Her green eyes search my face, filled with a concern that makes my chest tighten. Before I can answer, Norn's imposing figure appears behind the twins. His usual cocky grin is nowhere to be seen, replaced by a furrowed brow and tightly set jaw. "Void and veil, Yoren," he breathes, taking in my soaked appearance. "What were you thinking, going out there alone?" I flinch at his words, shame burning hot in my cheeks, but there's no mockery in Norn's tone, only genuine concern. It's almost worse than if he'd left. The weight of their concern, their worry, their unspoken questions, it's almost too much to bear. I want to disappear, to sink into the ground and vanish from their probing gazes. But Ansel's grip on my arm remains firm, unyielding as he continues to march us towards Ekra. I catch Kyra and Chiron exchanging a glance, their earlier excitement about our honey adventure replaced by confusion and fear. Norn's hand comes to rest on my shoulder, a gesture of support that feels both comforting and suffocating. "Ekra!" Ansel's deep, resonant voice booms across the clearing, silencing even the whispers. Ekra turns, her face a mask of innocence that doesn't reach her eyes. Those remain cold and calculating, a stark contrast to her sugary sweet tone. "Yes, Chief Ansel," she replies, her voice dripping with false sweetness. I feel my stomach churn, and not just from the leftover nausea. How does she wear this mask so damn effortlessly? I get sick when I so much as think about confrontation, yet here she stands, seemingly unperturbed by the storm brewing in Ansel's eyes, which are presently filled with shrewd thoughtfulness, narrowing as he addresses her. "Did you send this boy to haul in a boulder net alone?" I feel my chest tighten, and I can't tell if it's from the small amounts of water still trapped in my lungs, or the anxiety this ordeal is giving me. The tribe collectively holds its breath. I feel my stomach churn, torn between the desire for justice and the fear of causing a rift in our community. What if this jeopardizes my chances of ever exploring beyond our borders? Or what if this goes so far as to cause a rift in the tribe, like the one 6 generations ago when the Huldardock tribe left the Takakin, following Huldar, as he sought to leave the land of Taka, and set sail across the sea? Before Ekra can respond, I surprise myself by speaking up. "No, Chief Ansel," I say, my voice hoarse but steady. "Ekra didn't send me. I wanted to contribute more to the tribe. I thought if I could bring in a boulder net full of fish, I might prove my worth." Ansel's piercing gaze slowly shifts to me, skepticism clear in his eyes. Tuck, damn it, why did I say that? It's clear he doesn't believe me, but I hold his gaze, silently pleading with him to let it go. Ekra's lips curl into a sneer. "See, the boy admits it himself. Though I must say, if he's so eager to contribute, perhaps it's time we reconsider his special treatment. We cannot coddle the weak if we wish to survive." Murmurs ripple through the crowd. I spot Lolly off to the side, her face a mix of surprise and satisfaction at the brewing trouble. Nearby, I see Tornu push his way through the crowd, his expression a storm of concern and anger. Scanning the gathered faces, I catch sight of Kyra and Chiron. They've been pushed back into the throng, no longer at my side. Their expressions are a mix of confusion and worry, clearly torn between supporting me and fearing the consequences of this confrontation. Kyra's hands are clenched at her sides, as if she's physically restraining herself from rushing to my defense. Chiron's brow is furrowed, his eyes darting between me, Ansel, and Ekra, trying to piece together what's happening. Not far from them stands Norn, his imposing figure easy to spot, even in the crowd. The usual cockiness is gone from his stance, replaced by a tense alertness. His jaw is set, eyes narrowed as he watches the scene unfold. There's a flicker of something in his gaze, understanding perhaps, or a dawning realization of the situation I've found myself in. As Tornu approaches, his gaze locks onto mine. The disappointment and worry in his eyes makes my chest tighten. I want to explain, to tell him everything, but the words stick in my throat. Ansel's voice drops to a dangerous growl. "Enough, Ekra. Your views are noted, but they do not align with the teachings of Taka about protecting our own." He turns to me, his face softening slightly. "Yoren, your desire to contribute is admirable, but you don't need to risk your life to prove your worth. You have other strengths that benefit our tribe, and pulling in a boulder net by yourself, that's not a feat any have been able to accomplish in the history of our tribe, not since Gogger the Large." Gogger the Large. Tornu has told stories about him before. How many boulder nets did he bring in by himself? I can't remember. It was either 2 or 3, but still. Ansel is right. A single boulder net typically takes between 3 to 4 of our strongest men to pull in. Turning back to Ekra, Ansel's voice hardens again. And Ekra, let me be clear. If I ever hear of you encouraging or allowing any of our younger members to take on tasks beyond their capabilities, there will be severe consequences. Do I make myself clear? Ekra nods stiffly, her eyes blazing with defiance, even as she recedes. As the crowd begins to disperse, I catch Tornu's eye. He nods reassuringly, but I can see the mix of pride and worry etched on his face. I've never felt more uncertain about my place in the tribe or what the future holds. I notice Norn and Lolly off to the side, engaged in what looks like a heated discussion. Norn's face is flushed, his hands running through his short hair as he speaks. Lolly, in contrast, stands with her arms crossed, her expression a mixture of boredom and defiance. I can't make out their words, but Norn's frustration is clear. Is he angry that Lolly doesn't seem to care that I almost drowned? Or maybe he's upset that she doesn't seem concerned that her mentor, Ekra, seems to be involved. Or maybe he thinks Lolly is the one who pushed me to it. To be fair, that's not too far of a stretch. Not that I would have done anything she told me to do. Whatever it is, Lolly's indifference seems to be fueling Norn's agitation. Before I can ponder this further, Kyra and Chiron appear at my side, their faces a whirlwind of emotions. Yorin, are you really okay? Kyra asks, her green eyes searching my face. I nod, not trusting my voice just yet. Chiron jumps in. What were you thinking, going out there alone? You could have died. I start, but the words catch in my throat. How can I explain without implicating Ekra or admitting my own weakness? Was it because of what we did earlier? Kyra whispers, guilt creeping into her voice. Were you trying to prove something? I shake my head. No, it's not that. Then what? Chiron presses. You're not usually this reckless. Kyra picks up where Chiron left off. Did you lie to Ansel? Did Ekra put you up to it? That bitch! Chiron leaps back in, earning a quick glare from Kyra about her brother's choice of words, but quickly letting it go. Their questions swirl around me, each one feeling like a stone added to the weight on my chest. I want to answer, to explain, but the words won't come. My mind feels foggy, overwhelmed by the events of the day, and the fear still lingering in from my near-death experience. I can't, I stammer, my breath coming quicker. I'm sorry, I just don't want to talk about it right now. Kyra reaches out, her hand gentle on my arm. We're just worried about you, Yorin. You don't have to explain if you're not ready. Chiron nods, though I can see the frustration in his eyes. Just don't do anything like that again, okay? We need you around. Their concern touches me, but it also makes me feel suffocated. I need space, time to process everything that's happened. Thanks, I managed to say. I think I just need some time alone. Understanding dawns on their faces, and they step back. We're here if you need us, Kyra says softly. As they walk away, I'm left feeling both grateful for their friendship and guilty for shutting them out. But right now, there's only one person I think might understand, might be able to help me make sense of all this. I turn towards Tornu's hut, my feet heavy but determined. Maybe my uncle can offer some wisdom, some comfort in the midst of this chaos. But honestly, I don't even want his advice right now. I don't want to talk about this at all. I just want to pretend none of this ever happened. With each step, I feel more lost, more uncertain.